Hi everyone, hope everyone's keeping really well. I'm back for another video. It's been a bit of a break for me over the summer. I think it's a couple of months since I've made a video, but yeah, just sort of holidays and just taking it easy with the weather being so good. I've usually, my spare time, I've just been out in the garden, either gardening or just sitting outside with a beer, just listening to my music on my Walkman. It tends to get a bit hot up here in the pink attic in the summer because obviously heat rises, and yeah, it can get a bit on the sticky side. So so I tend to avoid it when we're lucky enough to have the weather when it's really hot. So anyway, so yeah, obviously, as you can see from the title of the video, I received some VCLT from Hedley, another fat bearded man talking about records, who I'm sure that a majority of you are very familiar with. Or if you're not, it's about time you got acquainted with him, because he's extremely knowledgeable, really likable guy, great personality. He's been making videos a lot longer than I have, and yeah, he's a big country music fan, as I'm sure you're all aware. But he also his tastes sort of morph into folk, Americana. I think he sort of blues and sort of alternative stuff. Always interesting with his videos. Over the years, he's introduced me to some really interesting music that I hitherto wouldn't have heard of or heard about. So I wouldn't say he's ever sent me down a rabbit hole, but he's certainly opened my eyes to some really interesting music. And yeah, so he contacted me, and there was he asked me if I had a particular Roy Harper album, and as luck would have it, I hadn't. So he said that he was gonna send that to me. Okay. And to be honest, that's kind of all I expected. But yeah, very surprising and very gratefully received a package with this many records. So yeah, so obviously it's not an unboxing. I've done all that. I've actually just returned from a holiday in Scotland, but my mum messaged me to say that a large package had arrived, and I kind of figured that it probably would be from Hedley. My mum actually struggled, bless her, to get it into the house because she's not terribly strong these days. But yeah, so we had a laugh about that anyway. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop rattling, and I'm going to show you what he sent me. Okay, so I've some of them I'm familiar with. Obviously, the Roy Harper I knew. A couple of them I haven't actually played, but I'm pretty sure I know what they're about. So so yeah, I'm going to just whip through, first of all, the ones that I will be keeping, and then at the end I'm going to just show the few that I'm not so keen on for various reasons, and we'll obviously be passing those on to somebody else. So okay, so first off the bat was the aforementioned Roy Harper album. So this is his 1982 release, Work of Heart. This is, I think this is the first press on Public Records. So this was after his split with EMI, when his contract kind of came to an end in 1980. I think he was dropped by the label. He sort of got some musicians together, as Roy always does, and put together this record. I have heard this record before. I didn't own it, as I mentioned, probably because it's quite 80s sounding. The production, unfortunately, as with a lot of 80s records, is sometimes kind of tainted by the production, and this one's kind of no exception. I do have 2 copies of the demo version of this, which was released a couple of years later. The first version of which was only to fans, and I think it was 837 copies, I think, that were released on Roy's own label. I'm very, very lucky a couple of years ago to acquire a copy of that, and then I think on Awareness Records it was reissued slightly later. So I'm going to be honest, I prefer the demo version because the songs are great. I mean, there's very little of Roy's songs that I don't really enjoy. There's a few that I like less, but I'm pretty much sold on more or less everything he's kind of ever recorded. But yeah, this just falls short of for my taste anyway, of what he's capable of. So, but yeah, nice, really nice to have in the collection. As I say, Hedley definitely wasn't a fan of this, so he was happy to pass it on to me. So obviously gratefully received. Okay, and then the next one, this is a bit more traditional. So this is Farewell, Musket, Pike and Drum. And this is from 1977. So this is a group called Strawhead, which I believe are Chris Pollington and Greg Butler. And I think there's a couple of other people who play on this as well. So this is very much sort of English traditional folk songs going back to a long time, sort of 14th, 15th, 16th century, from what I can gather. One or two, I think, a bit later. And sort of given, obviously, the treatment with sort of organ, 12-string guitar, really nice sounding guitar on this. It's very, very well produced. The vocals, I think, are mixed well as well on this. I really enjoyed this, actually. And I think I've only got one other title that's sort of similar sounding to this. So yeah, definitely a keeper for me. So this is on Tradition Records, and yeah, really nice. So yeah, really enjoyed that one. Okay, now this next one, he, in his note that he put in with the package, he thought that I'd quite enjoy this one. It is somebody that I was vaguely familiar with, but obviously don't own anything by him. So this is Steve Goodman, and this is his second studio album, Somebody Else's Troubles, from 1972. So I've put it in a sleeve because I've cleaned it up and on the machine and re-sleeved it on Buddha Records. Yeah, and I did really enjoy this. So definitely a winner from Hedley. Great choice to give to me because he's a country artist, I think, but you can hear this kind of crossover with folk, and particularly on songs like Lincoln Park Pirates. It's almost got like a kind of an Irish feel to it. The Dutchman, the opener, I really, really liked. And probably my favourite is the sort of more balladic Song for David, the third track. Really, really enjoyed. Lovely feel on that one. Interestingly, the people on the cover, not all of these actually feature on the record. I think, so there's John Prine, and Jimmy Buffett, along with Steve's wife and newborn daughter. And apparently Bob Dylan actually features on this album as well. But he's actually credited as Robert Milkwood Thomas. So that's no doubt a reference to Under Milkwood by Dylan Thomas. Well, I would think that's definitely a reference to that. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But yeah, so interesting. He says, "Thank you, Bob Dylan," on the back of the cover. But obviously he was given a pseudonym, or gave himself a pseudonym, for contractual reasons. So yeah, quite an odd one, that. But yeah, really, really nice listen. Not sure the label this is on. Oh, yeah, there you go. I can't remember whether I mentioned it or not. Anyway, it's Buddha Records. I think it was well, from what I can read about it, it was well received by the critics, but yeah, it was a poor seller for him, unfortunately. And I think after that he fell out with the record company and moved from Buddha to Elektra. So, but yeah, great listen, that one. That's Steve Goodman and Somebody Else's Troubles. Okay, the next one, very, very familiar with. I haven't actually got round to playing this yet, but Hedley put this in case I didn't have it, and lo and behold, I didn't. So this is Steely Span, individually, collectively. As the title suggests, this is some early album cuts from their earlier output, alongside some solo songs from band members or previous band members. So you got songs by Ashley Hutchings, Martin Carthy, and Tim Hart, individual songs, which I'm not familiar with, haven't heard, so I'm looking forward to hearing those. I think this is 1972, is it? This compilation, yeah, on one of my favourite labels there, the Large Mad Hatter Charisma label. Love that. The original inner was always nice. So yeah, that's definitely another keeper for me. Okay, now the last one. This was actually a sealed record, and Hedley mentioned in his notes that accompanied the package that he wasn't sure whether I was going to like this, but he thought, well, as I'm sometimes like quite maverick kind of folk and left field folk artists, he figured that I'd be one of the people that he would earmark for a copy of this. And yeah, so this was sent along with all the others. So this is, and I'm going to try and pronounce this right, this is Sourd Durand, or Sourd Durand. And the reason I'm probably murdering the pronunciation there, and I'm going to refer to my notes here, this is a band that play music from the Auvergne region of France. And they sing in what's known as the old Occitan language, which is quite an archaic language. From what I read online, it's they're struggling to kind of keep it keep it live, I guess. Nobody speaks it, I guess. Probably maybe generations are dying out. Those in the region that did speak it, and maybe just speaking regular French these days. I don't know. But anyway, so he gave it along to me as a kind of curiosity, what I thought of it. And yeah, I actually really liked it. Particularly the first couple of songs, Frank de Bruche and Peter Finetz. The energy and the way that it kind of just leaps out of the speakers, really um, really compelling listen. If I'm going to be honest, I probably preferred the first side to the second side. The second side kind of was maybe a little bit more intense in places. Um, will definitely require kind of further listening for me. So, but yeah, definitely how it starts. You've got that kind of lion leaping out. That's kind of exactly the kind of feeling I got from the offset. Really good way to open the album. I did a little bit of research. Apparently, this is almost a brand new release. This was actually only released in last year in 2023. So I think the guy who heads this up is a guy called Ernest Burgess, who is a kind of solo artist, put this band together. So this was much more of a group effort, I think, to perhaps what he's done previously. But yeah, I got nothing really in my collection that sort of that kind of comes close to this. I guess the nearest comparison I could make would be maybe somebody like Lankum, but that's more, I think, indicative of the fact that it's a contemporary, modern folk artist with a kind of modern production, more than the kind of stylistically, accurate as a comparison, perhaps. But yeah, definitely an interesting one to check out if you've not come across them. I certainly never heard of them, and more than almost certainly wouldn't have if Hedley hadn't have sent me this record. So yeah, definitely very grateful for that, and yeah, really interesting listen. So yeah, I'll just read you the hype sticker, because this kind of gives you a little bit of a taster as to what you might be expecting. So it's a deep trip into hybrid Occitan folk and intrepid left field experimentation. So yeah, you kind of know, sort of preparing you for the kind of the ride that awaits you when you put it on the turntable. Okay, so those are all the keepers. These, sadly, are the ones that I won't be keeping. So the first one is this one. This is Ladies Love Outlaws by Waylon Jennings. Obviously, I was aware of Waylon Jennings. I have heard some of his stuff before. A real kind of pioneer. Apparently, he's a pioneer of the outlaw movement for country music, and it was okay. I mean, I think once the sort of the heavy kind of steel pedal guitar starts to kick in, and it's kind of, I maybe lose sort of interest a bit, because it sort of becomes a little bit too. Hedley's going to kill me for saying this. Maybe generic. I don't know. That's probably heresy to say that. But yeah, I'm not an aficionado of country music at all. I have very little, other than maybe Glenn Campbell and one or two other artists. Yeah, so it's not a genre that I know an awful lot about. But yeah, it was all right, but I doubt I'll be playing it very often. So I'll probably pass that one on to somebody else. And likewise with the next one, this is Joe Ely. So this is his 1977 album. What's this actually titled? I think it's just self-titled. Really good pencil sketch drawing there on the cover, which looks just like a photograph. Fantastic. Reminded me a little bit of the original soundtrack, 10cc, which was again similarly done with a pencil drawing. Yeah, and he pointed out that that I might like some of the songs on here which were written by Butch Hancock, just because of the style of writing. I'm going to be honest, most of them really didn't do it for me. The one track I did really like, though, if I'm honest, was She Never Spoke Spanish to Me, which is the third track on side one. Had a kind of Tex-Mex kind of feel to it. I don't know, maybe a little bit like maybe Calexico or something like that. That one I really enjoyed, and yeah, would definitely warrant repeat plays. But as they say, one swallow doth not a summer make. So so unfortunately, I will be passing this one on as well. Okay, this one I initially was quite excited about because I really like this group, but then unfortunately I found out that I'd actually already got it. So this is the one Planxty album that I had already. So this is The Woman I Love So Well. So this is a 1980 record. So obviously famously you've got Christy Moore in this band, Andy Irvine. Yeah, and a really nice album. Nice kind of folk, obviously Irish folk feel. Really nicely recorded, well performed songs. But like I say, unfortunately, I already had a copy. So yeah, I will be passing that one along to somebody else. And then the last one, an artist I'm quite familiar with because he's probably as famous a living country artist as any of them. So yeah, Willie Nelson, and a compilation. Looks like a nice compilation of 18 of his songs. So yeah, again, I'm not a huge Willie Nelson fan. I know he's very, very well respected, and deservedly, because obviously he's been around for a very, very, very long time. But yeah, not really for me. So I will pass that one as well. But yeah, so 5 out of 9 I will be keeping, and very, very grateful. Thank you so much, Hedley. Really, really appreciated. Thank you for sending those along. If you aren't already subscribed to Hedley's channel, go and do so. He's an interesting YouTuber, and yeah, is definitely worthy of your time. So go over and check him out. So okay, guys, thanks for sticking with me. That's quite a long one, 25 minutes. I'm going to finish this up now. I will come back in a few days and do another video. I've got a few bits and pieces that I've been buying over the summer to show, as well as a new release as well. So yeah, until then, I'll bid you farewell, and thank you obviously to everybody who's stuck with my channel during the interim period when I haven't been making videos. So yeah, that is really, really appreciated. I still have been watching videos and commenting, obviously not to everybody because there's just so much content out there. But yeah, take care of yourself, guys, and I'll speak to you all soon. Cheers. Take care. Bye bye.